Marcus Rashford transfer price plummets as Manchester United learn brutal £21 million lesson. Man United transfer news as Marcus Rashford's value drops during poor run of form, with speculation around his future rumbling on. So much can change in 12 months, and Marcus Rashford is learning that the hard way, not for the first time either. 8 years into his senior career at Manchester United, and he has had the hero-to-zero arch more than most manage in a lifetime. In April-May 2023, he was on his way to scoring 30 times for United in all competitions, leading Erik ten Hag to a hugely respectable and largely successful first term in charge. Now, he is the target of social media abuse from some of his own fans and has been booed off by portions of the crowd as well. The Mancunian, who had led the way for the academy in the recent generation of United youngsters, hit his 100th goal for the club last season. He is just one game away from 400 for the Red Devils, yet none of the positivity that usually comes with these achievements is evident. Rashford has taken to online posts to defend himself from people who jeer his goals, and earlier this year his brother spoke out over criticism from the media too. His reputation as a highly paid attacker without much defensive pedigree has left him open to scathing criticism from supporters and former players. Local-born graduates tend to find it tougher to thrive in the modern footballing landscape as well, pitted against all the talent in the world at the fingertips of spectators. More tangibly though, his form is poor, and that is an immediate frustration that perhaps goes beyond anything else. Rashford has scored just 8 times in all competitions with 5 assists in 40 matches. He is a long way from the player who scored 10 times in 10 league games between the end of December 2022 and March 2023. His drop in levels has coincided with ten Hag struggling to replicate the same standard of performance from his entire side. It is at a time whereby Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos are carrying out a club-wide assessment from top to bottom. When it comes to efficiency, Rashford isn't currently embodying what the new regime in Sporting Control are after. But he certainly can. He has a senior career record of a goal or assist almost every other match. Only last year he was in the running to be player of the season, and has hit double figures for goals in 4 individual Premier League campaigns already. He could make that 5 with a good finish to this year, even if it is improbable after 2 goals in 10. He is versatile and can play across the front line, though the wait goes on to truly find his best role. He also regularly plays over 2,500 minutes in the league alone. At 26, he is the type of player that most sides would look to build around, with his catalogue and history showing plenty to get behind. The issue is that for his good years, there are some bad ones too. In 2021-22 he managed just 4 goals and 2 assists, playing less than 1,500 minutes, struggling with form and fitness. He has followed up the best season of his professional career with his second worst so far since 2018. He is not a consistent player year on year. That is part of the angry response. This is shown in his estimated value. As a teenager, Rashford was deemed to be worth over £60 million by Transfermarkt. 3 years on from his debut, and that had risen to £68 million. The boy wonder doing good, shining the light. During the aforementioned struggles his value dropped to £54 million. It coincided with the attention placed on him during the COVID-19 pandemic and his fight against the British government to help feed children around the country. That generated reactions calling for him to focus on football at the time, even if his efforts were also applauded. Shortly after, he was one of the 3 England players to miss a penalty in the Euro 2020, played in 2021, final against Italy. Still young despite his level of experience at such an age, his returns under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer saw his standing improve again steadily, though. The reaction to such a low point was evidence of the mental fortitude Rashford has. His market value spiked subsequently in December 2021 at £72 million despite troubles on the field. It was around this time that reports linking him to Paris Saint Germain reared. It was claimed in some quarters that the club would hold out for over £120 million for him. But Rashford couldn't keep up those levels and started just 13 league games the season after. Leading into the 2022 World Cup, his value plummeted to the lowest it had been since he was teenager. At £46 million, it was representative of the sour mood around his camp after just 4 league goals in the first 16 matches on the season. Rashford's response to that was the hottest streak of his career to date. Once again refusing to let go, taking the fight onto the pitch. Unsurprisingly, the value meter shot up again, and in August last year he was rewarded with a bumper new contract until 2028. The story of how things have played out since is now well documented. His current value of £52 million is his second lowest since turning 20. Despite being mainly fit to play, he is only slightly more valuable now, the site determines, than at his physical nadir 2 years ago. It shows possibly what United have missed out on in terms of generating a transfer fee for a player some now wish to leave, but also the impact that instability at a club can have on an individual. His standing of being valued £21 million lower than 2021 certainly poses questions for United. For Ratcliffe and company, it is a lesson of what has been and what cannot be allowed to happen again. For Rashford, it is the case of proving himself time and time again, getting knocked back and responding. How that embodies itself this time around remains to be seen. Mark Goldbridge would take £70 million for Man United star in summer. The winger has had a tough season at Old Trafford. Mark Goldbridge says he'd take £70 million to sell Marcus Rashford at Manchester United. Reports have suggested that United will listen to offers for most of their squad, including the England forward. United wants Rashford to stay long-term, to rediscover his spark. Still room to improve. Manchester United should take £70 million, if offered it, for Marcus Rashford, who is suited to Paris Saint Germain's style, according to Man United stand presenter Mark Goldbridge. The United winger has endured a tough campaign for the Red Devils, who currently sit in 7th place in the Premier League table. Rashford's future at United has long been a topic of discussion, following several up and down spells of form, and with the Red Devils potentially having a big clear out this summer, it isn't certain where the attacker will be next season. PSG would be perfect for Rashford. The French giants are in the semi-finals of the Champions League. Goldbridge believes Rashford would be a perfect fit for French champions PSG, who have booked their place in the semi-final of the Champions League against Borussia Dortmund. Goldbridge posted on his Twitter account on Tuesday afternoon. "I take £70 million for Rashford, and I think it's a tempter for clubs who think they can get the best out of him in a new environment. PSG would be perfect." Aside from their European success this term, Luis Enrique's team have also been crowned League One champions once more, after suffering just one defeat in 31 league matches so far this season. The Parisians are in a good place going into next season, and may seek to invest in a forward to try and continue their upward trajectory. Rashford would slot in comfortably at PSG. The French giants look set to lose Kylian Mbappé. PSG are set to lose their most prolific player in Kylian Mbappé this summer, which would free up a space in their attacking trio for Rashford to slot into on the left-hand side. Rashford has spoken before about how he feels his best position is from the left, which is another factor that could entice the winger into considering a move abroad. Young talent Bradley Barcola often occupies the spot on the left for PSG, but Rashford's experience and ability should see him comfortably take that place, and who better for Barcola to learn from that one of the best in the world on his day. Goncalo Ramos or Randal Kolo Muani often spearhead Paris' attack down the centre, with Ousmane Dembélé or Marco Asensio on the right. The lure of the Parisians could prove enough to draw Rashford away from Old Trafford this summer, with the added bonus of their regular Champions League involvement, something that United can't necessarily offer. United want to keep Rashford long-term. The Red Devils believe they can help him rediscover his spark. From United's point of view, they want Rashford to remain at the club and get back to his very best. At just 26, there's plenty of time for the Englishman to get back to basics and get back to his very best form, which wasn't too long ago. Last season, the winger was crowned Players' Player of the Year, after netting 30 goals and providing 10 assists in 56 appearances across the Premier League, Europa League, FA Cup and EFL Cup. However, he has failed to kick on from an excellent campaign, and this term, Rashford has netted just 8 goals in 40 matches in all competitions. Another factor to consider is that Rashford signed a new contract last July until 2028, meaning that if a club come in for the winger, they may have to cough up more than Goldbridge's £70 million valuation.